To an I-Team investigation. In the world of human trafficking, victims sold for sex are not always identified as victims.
Yeah, instead, they're often arrested. And that's something Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd acknowledged after a recent bust.
We know some of these ladies we arrested for prostitution denied being victims. However, there will be follow-up by this wonderful team of folks because we know some of them are victims that would not admit to being a victim.
Sometimes it takes 8 to 10 points of contact before somebody is ready to get help and get out of the life.
There are women currently serving time in state prison for crimes committed while they were victims of sex trafficking, and it's a reality the Florida Department of Corrections is now addressing. New tonight, I-Team investigator Kylie McGivern brings us behind prison gates for an exclusive look at new efforts to connect survivors with legal services and get them safe housing upon their release.
The Florida Women's Reception Center, Ocala, Florida. Inmate capacity 1,235. We met roughly 100, all with less than a year left on their sentences. Statistics show 3 out of 4 will be back. What makes this re-entry event different is the focus: human trafficking. What inspired bringing that conversation to a place like a prison?
It's really not talked about a lot, especially in the female population setting, but we know it is occurring.
Warden Carol Casimir says it's giving women a voice and a path to a better life than the one that led them here.
It's very beneficial that they actually have an ex-inmate here to tell her story and let them know that there is hope.
That former inmate, Janice Johnson.
I was sentenced to prison behind my trafficking.
To explain what led her here, Johnson went back to the beginning.
I was saturated in sexual trauma at a very, very, very young age. I was an addict before I became a victim of human trafficking.
When Johnson was sentenced in 2017, she put in an appeal and met Alexa Bennett, now a mentor in a voluntary program that connects inmates serving long-term or life sentences with those who have short sentences.
And she told me about an attorney.
Brent Woody runs the nonprofit Justice Restoration Center in Tarpon Springs, providing free legal services to human trafficking survivors.
If you were forced into prostitution, you have prostitution arrests, right? So we can expunge those prostitution charges.
Woody tells the I-Team he has received letters from dozens of inmates who didn't understand they were victims of human trafficking. Johnson is one who came out on the other side.
You know, when I started working with Brent, I had over 15 felony convictions, and all of that has been expunged. All of it.
Leading up to that, she was given the opportunity to testify against her trafficker.
Against the man who forced me to have sex for money for him. I really believe, like, that day, like, I got a little bit of myself back that day, you know? And he is now serving 25 years in prison for what he did, so he can't do it anymore.
While some women nodded, others spoke up, and one stood up after Woody's wife, Pam, talked about safe pickups when survivors are released.
You are not being selfish by taking care of yourself.
We are not showing her face for her safety.
I reached out and wrote to you guys. I've been a victim of severe sex trafficking, and every time I've been released from jail, they're waiting for me. And I'm very scared.
Yeah.
And I want to change my life so bad. The drug addiction and the harm that I went through is so severe, and I'm so looking forward to working with you guys.
Bennett, who helped Johnson and countless others, sees herself in these women.
Working as a mentor, do you feel like a part of you is almost mentoring yourself?
Absolutely. Over and over again. Because even though being incarcerated for so long and being here, the issues of life are still the same. And we're all trying to change. I'm sorry.
As a mentor in this program, Bennett is not preparing for release in months or days.
No way in this world this lady's going to get out anytime soon.
I'm currently incarcerated with 2 natural life sentences for murder in the first degree. I have been incarcerated for over 20 years, for approximately 22 years.
In 2001, a jury found her guilty of first-degree murder.
It all involves the deep, dark circle of trafficking. I believe my victimization played a huge part in the choices I made the night that I committed the murder.
With the support of her family, Bennett holds on to hope somehow one day she will get out.
It doesn't mean when the judge sentenced me to life, he didn't sentence me, to death. He sentenced me to a new life in a sense. And really I have to hold on to that because I can take part in helping other women. My motivation is to show them there's something different, to show them that they are beautiful, to show them they are strong, to show them they are survivors and they're not victims, to know that there's something on the other side for them, that there's healing.
Healing for women like Johnson.
Thank you.
Now married, pregnant, and working with the nonprofit Her Song, helping human trafficking survivors with safe housing and programs.
Because I want people to know, what's possible.
For some women, human trafficking isn't a part of their past. It's a life waiting for them. Pimps, traffickers standing by the moment they walk out of prison.
They recruit out of prison now. That's the big thing.
Tonight at 11, you'll hear from a former correctional officer.
He exposed a whole thing across the street where people were being released to pimps.
Across the street at Lowell Correctional Institution, one of the largest women's prisons in the country. I'm I-Team investigator Kylie McGivern, taking action for you.
And if you believe you or someone you know is a victim of human trafficking, please call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888. And if you suspect a child is a victim, please call the Florida Abuse Hotline. That number, 1-800-96-ABUSE.